Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Building a Nation with Polonia Warszawa, the Looking Forward series. So now we're on Pimentina. We've actually got 65 caps for Brazil. That's not bad. Actually, he had 105 games for us and 200 for Chelsea. So this guy was not mucking about, it would be fair to say. £53 million, that's probably the largest transfer fee we've actually seen so far. Went to Marseille for a little bit later in his career, in fact, for £7 million. Was there for 4 years and made 70 appearances, which is not too bad at all. But again, no managerial career. Very, very disappointed. There's still no one that can come close to Herman Carballo's achievements. I'm glad that at least Alberto Freitas, not only was he a club legend for staying for so long, but he also did have a little stint at managing. We had a few of those towards the start of this, and I was thinking, oh good, it's actually a bit more realistic. But since then, basically no one has actually been going into management, which is a bit of a shame, but we've still got a lot of players to come. Imagine if Blazej Lysik went into management. I feel like his rep might allow him to do that. I don't know. But next up, it's Jairo Patino. 30. Wow, he only got 22 caps for Colombia and a goal. His career certainly went off the rails a little bit after he left us, it would seem. I think I swear, did we sell him to Bournemouth? I could have sworn I sold him to someone else. Yeah. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, we sold him to Sevilla for like £6 million. Then he went on loan to Bologna and Bournemouth. And then he actually joined Bournemouth permanently for £5 million in the end. 117 games for them, in fairness. And then he went to Stoke for £6 million. And finally joined Victoria Pilsen to finish off his career. Yeah, it wasn't exactly the greatest career in the end for him. Just, I guess it's because he was one of those players that I let him go for a reason. Like, I think he wanted the deal anyway, but I wasn't too bothered about letting him go. So I guess that kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Next up is an interesting one. It's Tarek Abdelrahim. I was super excited to see how he'd done. I'm also excited about Mufta. He's another one we definitely want to make sure that we take a little gander at later. Don't worry, I'm pretty certain he's on the list. 91 appearances for Egypt in the end. I mean, this is a career. This guy was a dope. Imagine him and Mo Salah playing it together at the same time. This guy's a quality player. Did he ever actually make a single appearance? No, he made no appearances for us whatsoever. Went to Getafe, did Freiburg, Atalanta, Leverkusen, Sevilla, Barca. I mean, that's where he made the most of his appearances, was in this little scope of his career here. Was there any massive transfer fees? There's bound to have been massive transfer fees in here somewhere. He joined £7 million to Atlanta. He went to £61 million Barca paid for him. That's a lot of money, it would be fair to say. Not a bad career. I've got to give him that. 537 appearances. Not the best, but still pretty much up there. You probably won African Player of the Year, God knows how many times. African Footballer of the Year 2 times. African Midfielder of the Year 4 times. And Promising Footballer of the Year on 2 occasions. Yeah, he's a bloody good player, it'd be fair to say. Nicholas Pauls is up next. He was another one of those players that just kept bloody moving clubs. 7 caps for Germany. Again, no management stuff, but what can you do? He went to Feyenoord from us. He then went to Man United, then to Bournemouth, then to Mainz, where he finally settled down for a little bit, it would seem. But he was moving every single year, and we were getting kickbacks from every single transfer fee that was put forward through that period. Like, we let him go for basically the same price, but then he went to Man United for £8 million, and then he went to Mainz. Then it was on loan, but he definitely did move to Mainz permanently at some point as well, didn't he not? He must have done. He was at Mainz for 212 games. I don't know. Point is, we got a lot of money out of the transfer deal. Only 400 appearances for him in his entire career, though. So not quite the career that he might have wanted. Next up, Slavomir Chmiel. Remember him from the early days? I thought we'd have a look at him too. And here he actually went on to be a staff member. Okay. So, a strange career. He was one of 2 players, along with Bartosz Neugebauer, that we sold to Fortuna Düsseldorf. Did all right there. Went to Fortuna Sittard, to Freiburg for a bit, and finally found his home, really, in Russia. That was where he made the most of his career. At the latter stages, was definitely over in Russia with Akhmat, and then with Anji Makhakalakhalakhalaka, which is an interesting one. 355 appearances in the end. Retired as staff. He was a coach, and I don't think he would have had many jobs, it would seem. Let's have a look, though. Under-18s coach. Caretaker manager at Cracovia briefly, and he was the under-19 coach at Polonia for a little while, actually, for 9 years. Then went to Germany for a bit, but apparently didn't like it, and it made him retire at the age of 48. I guess he'd already made his money, so decided to go live on a boat for the rest of his life. That's the RP that I'm going with for Slavomir Chmiel. Next up, Hugo Rios. I think he was Peruvian too. Wonder if he outdid Albarracin. Probably not, though. Nope, alas, he was not able to get quite as many caps as Leandro Albarracin, but he did get 9 goals. Oh no, he wasn't a left-back, he was a defender. What am I talking about? He was a striker. A midfielder, a wide one too. 81 caps for him with 9 goals. He joined Sao Paulo, interestingly, after us in here. Wait, did he come back? He did. I love it when this sort of stuff happens. Yeah, so he went to Sao Paulo for a bit, then he went to China, and then we went, you know what? He looks kind of good. We'll have him back, actually. And went for 101 appearances for us over that time. 433 in his entire career. Went to Dynamo Kiev for a little bit, but again, no bloody managerial career. Wow, what a shame. Anyway, next up is Jonathan Giovagnoli. No caps, 35, retired. Still had an interesting career after he left us. Went to Cologne for a bit, then went back to Argentina for Independiente, for Huracan, Quilmes. And then, weirdly, the final year of his career, he just thought, you know what? I feel like I might spend a couple of years in Azerbaijan, as we all do, no doubt. That's a strange one to finish off his career with, like, what appears to be 3 seasons in Azerbaijan. No, he only did 2 seasons at Karabag. So, fair enough there. That's a strange one, but I wasn't expecting too much from the lad, in fairness. So, next up is Tony O'Connor. 38 years old he was when he retired. He somehow got 13 England caps. His sister Sinead will be incredibly pleased for him. He only played 3 times for us. And he didn't play for Wolves that much either, but he made a lot of appearances for Heerenveen and then went to West Brom. This was all during the save. It was most of his career. He actually spent at Verona, weirdly. Well, no, the latter parts of his career anyway. He made a lot of different like switches after he left for us. I actually didn't realise how early in the save he played for us. I thought it was quite late, but he did just sort of move around. He won a lower league cup with us, and that is quite literally... But he also won Dutch Goalkeeper of the Year while he was at Heerenveen. That was his sort of... The best part of his career would be the 3 or 4 years he spent over in the Netherlands. Only 200 appearances in his entire career. That's pretty low. One of the lowest we've seen so far. Next up, Rustam Ushakov. Oh, I think we made a good choice on him. He was a Ukrainian striker I brought in towards the end of the save. 113 caps for Ukraine and 43 goals. Eventually, he went straight back to Ukraine, this time for Dynamo Kiev for a little while, which is a bit of a shame. £5 million. I think that cost us more than bringing him in, didn't it? It doesn't actually say. I'm pretty certain it cost me more than £5 million, but there you go. Didn't really get much of a game for us. He had a great record, though, playing for Dynamo Kiev. Eventually, that earned him a move over to Feyenoord, it would seem. It doesn't actually say, but he scored a decent amount of goals for them. Then, of course, moved to the only Chinese team that apparently buy players, and then finally spent the final sort of couple of years of his career playing in the MLS with the Chicago Fire. Never quite hit the goal-scoring form that he did for Dynamo Kiev, but still, not a bad career for old Rustam Ushakov. He retired very, very early as well, which is a little bit of a surprise. Next up, Diego Silva. He was tough to find as well. Oh, 162 caps. Not quite as many as... I can't remember who actually has the most, but it's not as many as that. It was 170 someone managed to get in the end. I think it was Ibrahim Pereira. He got like 170 caps for Portugal. So Diego Silva, though, 162 caps for Chile is pretty good. 36... Oh, look at this. Oh, but to be fair, I already knew that one because I was the one that sold him to them. But, yeah. He played there for a long, long time. Like, he was there for nearly 10 years over in China. Surprising, actually. It was a weird one because he came over to Roma for a season. They went back to O'Higgins, and I thought, actually, he looks quite decent. My scouts saw him because he was playing for Roma, and so we brought him in, and he was decent for us, really. I mean, he made a decent number of appearances, 400 nearly in total. No managerial career afterwards. Bit of a shame, but what can you do? Ruben Franceschi. This is so strange. So you remember that eventually he left just because he was pushing for a move, and we kind of made the choice in the end. But he declared for Poland. That might have been before. I don't know if it was. Yeah, it must have been. Yes, no, that must have been during the save. Sorry, it's been a little while since I played the save now. So he made 4 appearances for Poland in the end. That would have been during my save, but that was not while he was at the club. That's why I didn't notice it. So that was after he left. He did actually make an appearance for Poland. So I wouldn't have known about that at the time. That's why it didn't make any sense to me. Won a lot of titles, though. Did all right for Wolves. Did all right for Rangers. Went to Sparta Prague and then Hibernian. Such a very strange record. I mean... Rangers paid a decent amount of money for him as well. £5 million. It might be the biggest transfer fee of his entire career. 425 appearances in total. Retired at the age of 38. I was a huge fan of Ruben Franceschi. He just pulled things out. But Juan Martin Iglesias was the legend that I kind of hoped he would become. Diego Restrepo. This is the guy we sold to Liverpool. Here he is. 106 appearances for Colombia. Retired at the age of 36. Went to Liverpool. Played there for a while. Went to Benfica. Probably on loan, I'm guessing. And then, I mean, look at this. £74 million. That's the biggest transfer fee I think we've seen for a former player on this. And he was at City for 14 years. This guy was a very, very good player. Undeniable. I mean, look at what he won at Manchester City. You might as well just call that everything. Comparatively speaking. Like, he didn't actually... Did he win? Yeah, he's won a few things as well with Colombia. I mean, what a player this guy turned out to be. We didn't have him long enough, to be honest, but I couldn't justify keeping him because he was complaining, I think, at the time. Tobias Röser, amazingly, never got a cap for Germany. I always felt this guy was going to be bigger than he was, but not even make the 400 appearance barrier. The best part of his career was much, much later onwards. In fact, with West Ham, he kind of dawdled around the leagues. Leipzig, he didn't quite get things going. £33 million it cost him, though. I mean, he joined Real Madrid for £15 million. I think that was that during... I feel like I remember that. It must have been the Leipzig thing, I don't know. Made a decent amount of appearances. In fact, he joined West Ham for £22 million still. He made a lot of transfer fees, but didn't quite... I mean, look at this, £18 million again here. But, yeah, didn't quite have the career that he might have wanted. Didn't hit the 400 appearance mark, and he didn't get a single cap for Germany. I thought he would have done. I honestly thought he would have done. But that's life, isn't it? Ooh, Bartolomé Idshak, a player that looks so promising, and I bet he's been disappointing. Oh, I take that back with a handful of salt. My God. 121 appearances for Poland, Bartłomiej Iczak. This was a guy that when we got him in the youth intake initially, he looked like a world beater, like an absolute godlike player. But he just wasn't ever developing like a lot of the other players were. When you got like Karol and you had Broniszewski, players that were continuing to develop, he just never really seemed to go anywhere, which was very, very strange. Only made 323 appearances in his entire career. But that being said, he got a lot of games for Poland, it would be fair to say. Went to Palace for a little bit. I don't know how much they paid for him. Let's just see. Then he... Oh no, went on loan to Bayern Munich, Crystal Palace and Hanover. So that's so strange. So eventually, after a load of loan spells while he was here, he eventually then moved to Sturm Graz over in Austria. Like, he was clearly a very talented footballer because, well, like, 121 caps for Poland, unless he was just playing in a position where they had no one better. Because then he went to Red Bull Salzburg for £4 million, Las Palmas for £2 million, and then he actually went to Maccabi Haifa. This is such a strange one, because looking at this side of the screen, his history summary would suggest that he's not had the best career, didn't make that many appearances, and they weren't for large clubs. But then 121 caps for Poland. It's a crazy one. I think I was partly right about the fact that it was one of those players, I think, sometimes, where you could sometimes get players who come in with a really high current ability, but their actual potential ceiling isn't that high, and I feel like he's one of those players. Or he had a high potential ceiling, like my scouts thought he did, but he had some personality attributes and the hidden ones that basically prevented him from ever actually reaching that goal, because he's had a good career on an international level, but his club career has been very much underwhelming, it would be fair to say. I mean, Red Bull Salzburg is probably the height of his career, other than his time with us, maybe a little bit in Palace there. It's a strange career he's had. Yeah, Mohamed Kone now. Here he is, 35 years old. Oh my God. 124 games he played for the Ivory Coast, but scored 113 goals. This guy just absolutely banged them in. Jesus. Like, we gave him to Katowice because I felt like it was a good deal for them at the time and he could probably do something for them. And 63 goals he scored for them in 140 games. Ain't bad. I mean, he was there for 5 years. But then they sold him to Real Madrid for £21 million. Katowice sold a player to Real Madrid. Didn't really hit the ground. 16 goals is okay. Did he go on loan to PSG? Nope, £7 million. Actually, got 1 and 2 for them. And then, out of nowhere, went to Milan for 9 years and scored 112 goals for Milan over 9 years. That's a pretty good career. Like, that is a hugely impressive career for Mohamed Kone. I'm super pleased for him. That international record is ridiculous. 206 career goals as well. That's basically a 1 in 2 striker playing for some of the best clubs in Europe and Katowice. I can't really argue with how good he's been there. That is pretty damn impressive. And now, the moment you've probably all been waiting for. The next player on my list is Blazej Lysik. Let's do this. I want something good for him. Come on. 50. I told you, what did I say? About 40, 50 caps. A bit more than I expected there. Oh my God, look at his career. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so disappointed. He joined PSG for £91 million, but he only played... oh, that's so bad. That's probably the most disappointing career I've ever seen from a player who we know is a godlike player. Only 56 caps for Poland in the end. My guess is that he got most of those towards the end of his career once the managerial situation changed, because he only had like 3 caps when we were left there. Oh, and he only got 6 goals for Poland. That's crazy. £68 million he joined Spurs for in that very first summer. Only made 56 appearances for Spurs. Actually, to be fair, 58 appearances for Spurs over 2 seasons is pretty damn good. He was continuing in his career pretty damn nicely. Like, he was 24 years old, I think, when he was with us. Like, the final year of his career, I think he was 24 years old. In fact, we can see, yeah, he was 24. So, you know, by the time he'd done a career... He'd made 250 appearances by the time he was 26 years old. That's a pretty good record at that point. Point is, though, he played then for another 9 years and made less than 100 appearances over that final 9 years of his career. PSG, I have a level of hatred for them that I didn't know I could possibly have. He only made 48 appearances for them over 7 seasons. Oh, shocking. That is so bad. Look at this, 27 appearances in that first year, but then 5, 10, 1, 3, 1, 1, reserves, then off to Besiktas. They paid £91 million for this guy. Oh, I'm not even blaming him, I'm blaming them. That's disgusting. I'm so annoyed. I've never been so disappointed by the results of something like that from a guy who won 3 Ballon d'Ors. Get that in our heads here. He won 3 Ballon d'Ors before the age of 25. And then somehow they ruined his career. Look at this record. He won everything. At Spurs, he won the Ballon d'Or. I'm so frustrated with his career. That's disappointing. I thought he would be a world beater. And when I saw him win another Ballon d'Or with Spurs, I just figured it was going to be his year. But he's still one of the greatest Polish players of all time, but has also had one of the most disappointing finishes to his career. But then again, he could have left at any point maybe, and he just didn't. He went to Besiktas, only scored 1 goal for Besiktas. That's crazy. And then he played for 2 years at Balıkesirspor and didn't score a single goal for them. I don't know what happened to Blazej. That's a mystery in itself. If you got any ideas, let me know. That's such a shame. Anyway, we must move on to Alain Prud'hon. I actually can't contain my disappointment for that. Prud'hon, this is a strange one. He's played for... I've said that. I appreciate that I do repeat a lot of phrases. They're verbal tics. And unfortunately, when it's long recordings like this, I can't help but use a lot of jumping off phrases when I start sentences and speech. So just bear with me on that one. I appreciate that it could probably be quite frustrating, but I'm not a thesaurus, so we'll have to deal with this. I'm actually hearing myself say things over and over again. In fairness and... to be fair, you know how it goes. Anyway, so moving on. Strasbourg. I mean, we sold him to buy him very early. I was expecting to get big money from the deal later down the line, really. That was kind of the plan. And, I mean, he did move to Bayer Leverkusen for 25 million, and that was probably the best part of his career. Still moved around an awful lot after that. We went to Valencia, Aston Villa. He had a lot of clubs. That's the key thing here. But again, no real career achievements in his entire career. And again, no management career. But what can you do? Mauricio Coronel is up next, a player who I just don't care about. And here he is, 36 years old, no caps for Argentina, no managerial career, your boring man. Didn't play for us for very long at all. Eventually, we just bumped him off to Inter. It was not Inter, to Juventus. It would seem at the end of the day. How much did they pay for him? £17 million. So at least we got some money out of the deal. Considering, then again, I think we probably paid a lot. I feel like we paid a lot for him. He was rubbish. It just did not fit with the way we played at all. Went to Banfield and then weirdly finished his career in Africa with 3 years at ES Tunis. Strange choice, but sure. You do you, buddy. Federico Grandi next. 36 years old. Wow. I mean, wow. We bought him off of Inter. I think we might have even got him on a free transfer, if I remember correctly. Or it certainly didn't cost us much if we did pay for him. And he did a decent job for us. But then when the opportunity to sell him to Milan for £20 million came along, I was hardly going to say no to that, was I? And what a career he's had. 463 appearances is pretty damn good for a striker. And to score 177 goals, very, very nice indeed. 108 of which were, of course, with Milan. 1 in 3. It's not the end of the world. He's sort of getting steady amounts of goals per season. He's sort of probably getting, 13, 14 goals a season, I'm guessing. 13, 15. Yeah, he had a 15 season. Had a couple of poorer seasons where he only got 6. But he played less matches then. But he did get 16 in 31 for us, which is very, very good indeed. Although you could argue that 15 and 27 is probably even better, actually, for Milan. So, pretty good. 74 caps for Argentina. Not bad. 35 years old when he retired. Went to Ajax I don't think it cost him that. £12 million, but then he wasn't there long, was he? And then went to Southampton for 27 million, and he really did have a career at Southampton. 7 years there, nearly 200 appearances. Didn't quite crack the 400 appearance barrier, but still not bad. Went to Bordeaux for a bit, finally finished his career over in Greece. Not bad at all for Mateus Saavedra. Jose Francisco next. There's a gazillion players called Jose Francisco, so he does remain Spanish. 36 years old, no caps for Spain in the end. Played for us briefly before going to Lyon, Toulouse, Milan again. Well, not Milan again, but another player moved to Milan. Deportivo, Napoli, Las Palmas, and finishing his career in Saudi Arabia. Any huge transfer fees? Joined Lyon for £8 million. I'm guessing that was probably the height of his career, it would seem. Yes. He was a midfielder. So, yeah, he wouldn't be expected to score that many goals. Although, that being said, he did all right at Lyon. To score 6 goals in 29 games for Lyon is pretty impressive. And the fact that he got 5 for Al Ahly is not bad either. So that's Jose Francisco. We're going to do maybe 2 more players. Yeah, we're going to do Paulo Jorge first, and we'll finish off with Ernesto Peralta. I accidentally typed in Paulo Orgi, and it still came up. So there you go. He got 16 caps for Brazil. That's impressive, actually. And he played for us for bloody ages. You notice how so few of these players actually stayed at Polonia for very long. It does seem like an awful lot of these guys fled the ship very, very fast indeed. There must have been a hell of a lot of turnover. I wouldn't mind looking at our transfer history as well at some point in this save too. But he stayed here for a long time. He signed not long towards the end of my save, and he was there for nearly another sort of, 8 years? 200 appearances as well. He hit the 400 appearance marker in total. And eventually, we randomly sold him to Anderlecht for £11 million. Didn't really do great there, but he was like a 1 in 2 nearly striker for us. So that's impressive. Got caps for Brazil during that period. Bit of a weird career for him, in fairness. And we're going to finish things off with Ernesto Peralta. Oh my god, he got 5 caps for Argentina in the end. He joined Werder Bremen. I mean, to be fair, I think there was all kinds of rumours flying around at the time as to why he left and joined Bremen. But, I mean, you can't really argue. He spent 13 years there. He finished his career there. That's actually quite surprising. 438 appearances in total. Scored a decent amount of goals for them. Obviously not as many as he was going to get for us, but that's because he played in a very specific role for us. £8 million. He was one of the biggest outlay signings we made at that point. But I can't fault the fact that he really did go on and have an excellent career with Bremen in the top flight in Germany. It's undeniable. So there endeth the third part. We've got one more part to come. I'm going to look at the transfer history. In fact, this episode's got a little bit more to... No, because I'll give away some of the other players that have left. So just having a little look through some of the other players we've got still to have a little look at. We've got Vicente, Falvella, Kevin, Donny Waterberg, Mr. Bean in there, Conrad Kasalik, Zuba for Posse, The Llama, Gorosito, Mufta, Edwin Palacios, Marilison, Everton Escobar, Campagnaro, all of the good guys still to come, and Rafael Maka will be the final player on the list as well. So, if you've enjoyed this, drop a like, that'd be awesome, and I will join you guys very soon. Thank you so much for watching, bye-bye.